Dear students, in last lecture, we have discussed about thermodynamics, then we have discussed about chemical thermodynamics. It was a short lecture. Because of some technical problem, I have to stop lecture after 11 minutes. Now I'm going to continue the remaining part in this lecture. Let me give 2 minutes to share the screen and to share the PPTs. Okay, students, we have discussed about the thermodynamics, then we have discussed about chemical thermodynamics, then we have seen the important terms which are used in the thermodynamics. And for that, we have seen one mathematical equation. Just to recall what was the mathematical equation? I have told you in the last lecture. The mathematical equation you can see on the slide also. At the bottom, there is one equation, mathematical equation. What is that equation? The universe is equal to the system plus the surroundings. That is, when system and surroundings combine, they form the universe. Or we can say system and surrounding together constitute the universe. Even, in other words, you can say if some part of the universe is system and the remaining part of the universe is surrounding. Using this discussion, now we can define the terms system and surroundings. Okay. Here on the slide, what is the question? What is a system? The definition of system is a part or portion of the universe which is under thermodynamic consideration or thermodynamic study. Suppose we are doing thermodynamic study of a chemical reaction between 20 ml copper sulfate solution and 1 gram zinc powder. Then 20 ml copper sulfate solution and 1 gram zinc powder make our system. Here there are two substances in our system, copper sulfate and zinc. System may be very large, it may be small. System may contain one substance or it may contain two or more substances. Okay, now what about the surroundings? What is the surrounding? Surrounding is the part or portion of the universe other than the system. सिस्टम को छोड़ के यूनिवर्स का जो पार्ट बचेगा वो क्या होगा? सराउंडिंग्स. इन सिंपल वर्ड्स वी कैन से the surroundings include everything other than the system, or even we can say part outside the system is the surroundings. And when we add system and surroundings, what we get? We get the universe. Now see the next slide. In this slide, two parts of the universe are shown, system and surroundings. But see carefully. Around the system, there is one dotted line. That dotted line is shown as boundary. So obviously, question arises, what is a boundary? Boundary is the real or imaginary wall that separates system from its surroundings. सिस्टम को सराउंडिंग से सेपरेट करने वाली रियल या इमेजिनरी वॉल या सरफेस यानी बाउंड्री. We'll go to the next slide. Here, see the heading, classification of system. Now, on the basis of, this base is important, on the basis of exchange of energy and matter, systems are classified into three types: open system, closed system, and isolated system. Now, question arises: what is a open system, or which system is called open system? Now, listen: a system which can exchange both energy and matter with its surroundings is called open system. What about the closed system? A system which can exchange only energy but not matter with its surroundings is called closed system. And what about the isolated system? A system which can exchange neither energy nor matter with its surroundings is called the isolated system. For clear cut understanding, we'll go to the next slide. Here, same explanation is given, but words are different. Words may be different, but meaning should be same. Now, see in the classification of the thermodynamic properties, thermodynamic systems, what is given on the slide. Open system, one in which both energy and mass cross the boundaries of the system. What is given for the closed system? One in which mass does not cross boundaries of the system, though energy may do so. And what is given for the isolated system? One in which neither mass nor energy crosses the boundaries. Students, have you noticed one thing? Here the mass word given for the matter. Mass is the equivalent word for the matter. See, we have learned in 11 law of conservation of mass. And what is the statement? Matter can neither be created nor be destroyed. So mass is the equivalent word for matter. So we can use mass or matter. It makes no difference. We'll go for the next slide. Suppose in the examination, applied question is asked. The table is given to an exam and you have to ask to write yes and no words. See carefully, there are 3 yes words and 3 no words. So, spaces for yes and no words, suppose, are blank spaces, and the examination you have to write the yes and no words at the correct places. When you will write, when your concept is clear, then only you can write the correct yes and no words at the proper places. After the lecture, draw this table and try to write yes and no words to the proper places. See how to write. Now, see the open system. In the open system, both matter or mass and heat energy can exchange. Heat is one kind of energy. Mass or matter and heat energy can exchange in open system. Therefore, S for mass exchange and S for heat exchange. Both mass and heat energy can exchange by the open system. What about the closed system? Closed system can exchange only energy, heat energy, but not the mass or matter. Therefore, for heat energy, the letter S is there, and since there is no exchange of mass or matter in between system and surroundings, in closed system, there is no letter for the exchange of mass. What about the isolated system? In the isolated system, both mass or matter and energy cannot be exchanged between system and surroundings. For both exchange of mass and exchange of heat energy, words are no. Both places you have to write no word. Am I clear? Okay. Are you getting me? Are you getting me? Are you clear? Okay. Now we'll go for the another slide. Here, see in this slide, one applied question is given. The first diagram, what is written on the vessel? Open system. Suppose our system is hot water. Suppose our hot water system is taken in a open mouth vessel and vessel is metallic vessel. And our hot water system can exchange water vapor with its surroundings and heat energy also with its surrounding. Water vapor is matter. Why? In 11th we have studied matter is anything which occupies space and has mass. Water vapor occupies space and it has mass. Therefore, water vapor is the matter. Hot water can exchange matter and energy. Matter in the form of water vapor and heat in the form of energy in the form of heat. So heat and matter both are exchanged here. The water vapor can go from hot water system to its surrounding. Therefore, there is exchange of matter in between system and surrounding. Heat energy can go from our hot water system to surrounding through the metallic wall because metal conducts the heat energy. Since there is exchange of both matter and heat, system is open system. Now see the B diagram. Suppose hot water system is taken in closed metallic vessel. Then hot water system cannot exchange water vapor as matter with its surrounding. Why? Because vessel is closed. But hot water system can exchange heat energy with its surroundings. Why? Because wall or boundary between system and surrounding is metallic. Through the metallic wall, heat energy can go from system to surroundings. So hot water in the closed metallic vessel is an example of closed system. See the C diagram. Suppose hot water system is taken in a closed and an insulated vessel. Then what will be observations? There is no exchange of matter as a water vapor because vessel is closed, and there is no exchange of heat energy because walls of the vessel are insulated. When wall is insulated, heat energy cannot go from system to surroundings or from surrounding to system. I will move to the next slide. What is the heading? Thermodynamic property. Pressure, temperature, volume are the familiar thermodynamic properties. Mass, volume, density, refractive index, viscosity are some other thermodynamic properties. These thermodynamic properties are also called measurable properties. Why? Answer is simple, because we can measure them. These thermodynamic properties are classified into two types. They are divided into two types. Some are extensive properties and some are intensive properties. Naturally, question arises. Which property of system is called extensive property? Now listen, the thermodynamic or measurable property of system, which depends on quantity of matter present in the system, is called the extensive property. When quantity of matter increases, mass increases, volume increases, number of moles also increases. It means mass, volume, number of moles are the extensive properties. Now I am going to tell you 4 extensive properties. For them, first letter is E. Energy, entropy, enthalpy, and electrical resistance. So in all 7 extensive properties I have told you. I'm just repeating: mass, volume, number of moles, energy, entropy, enthalpy, and electrical resistance. Second type is intensive property. Which property of system is called intensive property? Suppose this is the question. Then what is the answer? A thermodynamic or measurable property of system which does not depend on quantity of matter is called an intensive property. For example, temperature is intensive property. You may ask me question, why? Why temperature is intensive property? Now listen carefully. Take 10 ml cold water in a bucket and measure the temperature. Note it. Then take one full glass of cold water and measure the temperature. And from the same 10 liter of water, take one small beaker cold water and again measure the temperature. What you will find? What will be your observation? You will find every time temperature remains constant. What it indicates? It indicates temperature does not depend on quantity of matter. That's why temperature is intensive property. What are the other intensive properties? Pressure, refractive index, density, melting point, boiling point, surface tension, viscosity are other some intensive properties. So the thermodynamic or measurable properties of system are divided into two types. Which two types? Extensive properties and intensive properties. Extensive properties depend on quantity of matter present in the system, and intensive properties do not depend on quantity of matter present in the system. Let's go to the another slide. See, what is the heading? State of a system. What is a state of a system? Suppose question is, what is a state of a system? When all thermodynamic or measurable properties of system have a definite value, then system is said to be in a particular state. जब सिस्टम के सभी थर्मोडायनेमिक या मेजरेबल प्रॉपर्टीज के लिए एक डेफिनाइट वैल्यू होती है, तब वो सिस्टम एक पर्टिकुलर स्टेट में होती है. See the last sentence on the slide. The set of values of properties describe the state of the system. Can system change its state? Answer is yes. System अपनी स्टेट बदल सकती है. आंसर क्या है? Yes. When the system changes its state, listen, when value of one or more properties change, system goes from one state to another state. When value or magnitude of one or more properties change, system goes from one state to another state. जब एक या एक से ज्यादा थर्मोडायनामिक प्रॉपर्टी की वैल्यू बदलती है तो सिस्टम एक स्टेट से दूसरे स्टेट जाती है. फॉर बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग रेफर द डायग्राम नंबर 4.3 in your chemistry textbook. We'll go for the next slide. Read the question on the slide. It is given at the top. What is a state function? State function is actually thermodynamic property. Now question arises again, which thermodynamic property is called a state function? Which thermodynamic property is called a state function? The thermodynamic or measurable property of system which depends only on initial and final states of the system and does not depend on path in between the states is called state function. Suppose this is initial state, suppose this is the final state. Then state function is the thermodynamic property It depends on only initial and final state, and it does not depend on the path in between initial and final states. So there is one path in between initial and final states. The state function depends on only initial and final state, and it does not depend on the path followed by the system to go from the initial state to final state. Okay, which are the familiar state functions? Pressure, temperature, volume are the state functions. Interesting part is that pressure and temperature are the intensive properties, but volume is the extensive property. And all three, pressure, temperature, volume, are the state functions. So you have to read carefully. What about the other state functions? Entropy, enthalpy, internal energy, Gibbs energy are also state functions. These are the new thermodynamic properties, and that we have to learn the same chapter, the further part. We'll go to the next slide. Here, state function depends only on two states, initial state and final state. Therefore, state function has two fixed values, one at the initial state and other at the final state. By using these two values, we can find the change in state function. For better understanding, we'll take one example which is given on the slide. Suppose A represents initial state and B represents final state, or A represents state of reactants and B represents state of product. Initially we have reactants, therefore reactant state is the initial state. At the final we have products, therefore product state is the final state. Let T1 is the temperature at initial state and T2 is the temperature at final state. Then how to find change in temperature? Change in temperature we have to find by taking difference between T2 and T1. While finding difference, always we have to take value of the state function at final state. Then we have to subtract the value of state function at the initial state. And change in temperature. How to show change in temperature? By delta T. But delta means difference of two temperatures. Okay. Now, suppose our state function is volume. Can we find change in volume? Yes. How to find change in volume? V2 minus V1. What is V2? Volume at final state. What will be V1? Volume at initial state. And how to show change in volume? We have to show it by delta V. Now, one more example we will take. It is not given on the slide. Pressure is state function. Pressure, temperature, volume are the state functions. Pressure is a state function, therefore we can find the change in pressure. How to show change in pressure? Delta P. How to find delta P? P2 minus P1. What is P2? Pressure at final state, and P1 is pressure at initial state. In this chapter, in chemical thermodynamics, you have to keep in mind 1 is the number for initial state and 2 is the number for final state. Okay, now we'll skip to the next slide. Some properties are state functions and some remaining properties are the path functions. So when we have to divide thermodynamic properties of the system, then some are the state functions and remaining are the path functions. What is a path function? Path function is nothing but a thermodynamic property. Now, which thermodynamic property is called a path function? For this question, what is the answer? The measurable or thermodynamic property of system which depends on path between initial state and final state is called the path function. Or in other words, path function is the thermodynamic property It depends on path followed by the system to go from initial state to final state. What are the important path functions? Work and heat are the important path functions. What is the symbol for work? W. And symbol for heat is capital Q. Heat and work, that is Q and W, are the important path functions. Okay, now we'll go to the next slide. See, there are two questions on the slide, but in this year, it is not important to study the first question because the part thermodynamic equilibrium is eliminated. But the second question is important for us. What is the second question? What is a process? What is a process? The answer is given on the slide. What is the answer? The transition or operation by which system goes from one equilibrium state to another equilibrium state is called a process. This once again, the transition or operation by which system goes from one equilibrium state to another equilibrium state is called a process. Here, operations are chemical operations. For example, to increase the temperature by 20 degrees Celsius is one of the chemical operations. To decrease the volume half is another operation. By this operation, system goes from one state to another state. Okay, now there are different types of process. In this chapter, we have to learn at least 6 types of process. See the next slide. Here, first process is given, that is isothermal process. So, which are the 6 process? Isothermal process, isobaric process, isochoric process, adiabatic process, reversible process, and irreversible process. Now there are 6 processes we have to study in this chapter. We will study this all 6 processes one by one. So initially, we are studying the isothermal process. Now, which process is called isothermal process? A process or isothermal process is the process in which temperature of the system remains constant throughout the change. थ्रूआउट दी चेंज अगर सिस्टम का टेम्परेचर कांस्टेंट है तो वो प्रोसेस क्या होगी? आइसोथर्मल प्रोसेस. दिस वंस अगेन, isothermal process is the process in which temperature of the system remains constant throughout the change. All temperature readings for the system are same. Therefore, difference between two temperature readings is 0. That is why delta T for the isothermal process is 0. And you have to learn right now one more new thermodynamic property is internal energy. And the symbol for internal energy is U. Internal energy is one of the thermodynamic properties and symbol is U. Internal energy depends on temperature. Therefore, whenever delta T is equal to 0, delta U is also 0. U or internal energy is also a state function. Delta T is equal to 0 and delta U is equal to 0 for the isothermal process. If there is question in which process delta U and delta T are 0, your answer should be isothermal process. Okay, now we'll shift to the next slide. Second type of process, isobaric process. Question is, what is an isobaric process? Isobaric process is the process in which pressure of the system remains constant throughout the change. अगर सिस्टम का प्रेशर थ्रू आउट द चेंज सेम रहा, कांस्टेंट रहा, बदला नहीं, तो वो प्रोसेस क्या होती है? आइसोबारिक प्रोसेस होती है. तो ऑल वैल्यूज ऑफ द प्रेशर आर सेम, or in other words, the difference between two pressure values is zero. Therefore, for the isobaric process, delta P is zero. So for which process delta P is zero? For the isobaric process, delta P is zero. I will go for the next slide. What is an isochoric process is the question on the slide. Or which process is called isochoric process? Isochoric process is the process in which volume of the system remains constant throughout the change. In which process volume of the system remains constant? In isochoric process. Volume of the system remains constant. Although values of volume are same. Therefore, delta V is equal to 0. The equation is for which process change in volume is 0. The answer is isochoric process. Okay, we'll go for the next slide. Before telling you about the adiabatic process, the next process is adiabatic process. But before explaining about the adiabatic process, you should know the symbol for heat or heat energy is Q. When there is no exchange of heat energy in between system and surroundings, that time process is adiabatic process. Okay. Now what you should know, Q is the here. What should be the important part? Should know Q is the symbol for heat energy.